Hi and welcome to this online demonstration of QuiqCare. My name is Neil Moores. I'm a Director of Quick Solutions and I look after the product design and delivery. QuiqCare is an online system which is designed to make a complex compliance process as simple as possible and bring it into the day-to-day process of operating any type of care provision. I'm going to run through some of the main features, but please do feel free to give us a call with any questions you might have or to arrange a one-to-one demonstration at any time. So let's get started. So let's take a look at QuiqCare. Here on the home screen, on the left-hand side, you're shown all of the outcomes which are applicable to your service provision and you have to comply with. That could be the 16 core outcomes, all 28 outcomes, which are shown here, or a mixture of both. You can see at a glance your self-assessed compliance status using these coloured indicators. These follow the CQC guidelines and are indicative of how you've assessed your CQC compliance for that particular outcome. Any action plans connected with the outcome and how much evidence is already attached to it are shown by these icons. The small tick shows action plans and the magnifying glass indicates the evidence. The numbers by the side say how much of each is attached to that outcome. You can get a summary of these action plans and evidence simply by clicking the icon to open up the evidence summary grid in this case. This displays the evidence which is linked to the prompts within the outcome. To get a preview of what's contained in that evidence, you can hover your mouse just over any item there and it will give you a quick summary of what's been said in that evidence item. You can also click on the line to go and edit the item itself directly from this point. Back on the home screen and over on the right hand side is your activity pane. Anything showing here needs your attention. This is where you'll be reminded of things that need to be done and any overdue tasks. Also here in Site Status, you can see an overall snapshot of your compliance situation. Any reminders about jobs that need to be finished are shown in memos with links back to the actual item, just like a bookmark. Any relevant information regarding changes in legislation or system messages from Quick Solutions about QuiqCare are noted under Information. Quick Solutions manage all these things centrally and notify you of them. To bring your attention to important changes or messages, we also put notes up here in the banner so it can't be missed or overlooked. Going back to our activity pane, if in this list an item is red, then it's already overdue. If it's black, it's coming up to its review date. We can see here a piece of evidence which is overdue for review. Clicking the line will take us directly to the piece of evidence. If we still believe that evidence is current and valid, we can simply change its date for another 6 months, for example, save it, and that evidence is now updated. Back on the home screen, we'll see it's disappeared from our activity pane. It will reappear in 5 months' time, 4 weeks before it's overdue. You will also receive an email to say it's time to review that piece of evidence. We call QuiqCare a proactive management tool, and that's what we mean. QuiqCare will only show you things that you need to be actioning. You don't need to wade through everything to find out what it is you have to do. It keeps you in control by telling you what needs to happen next. Of course, you can access any of the data in QuiqCare at any time, but typically speaking, people just want to access what needs to be done. So let's look at adding some evidence. Let's say we want to add some evidence regarding outcome 12, which is about people and recruitment. Maybe that's because we've just had a new starter and it's jogged your memory about a part of the process you haven't evidenced before. Clicking outcome 12 opens the prompt screen. Here we can see the prompts contained in the outcome on the left-hand side, and when we click on those individual prompts, you'll notice the guidance on the right-hand side of the screen is changing also to show the guidance which is contained within each individual prompt. So let's say we're going to add evidence on how we check a new starter is qualified. We could add evidence at prompt level, in which case it would apply to all the guidances in that prompt. Or we can add evidence at a more granular guidance level. We can see here that guidance 12A3 asks specifically about checking qualifications, so that's a perfect place for our evidence. Firstly, select the guidance and then click the evidence link. The evidence screen opens with the prompt and guidance guidelines over here on the left, so we have them always there for reference, and over here on the right we have the evidence entry form. So now we can add our evidence directly into the evidence form. We can say how long this evidence is going to be valid for, and who's in charge of making sure the evidence is looked after. Here we have an item that says show this evidence on the PCA report, and I'll come back to that later on. We can select from the policy and procedures drop-down box those policy and procedures which are relevant to this piece of evidence, and don't forget these policies and procedures are your policy and procedures, and QuiqCare will only show the ones which are relevant to this specific outcome and prompt. Once that's been completed, we simply press save, and that evidence has now been updated and fixed and indexed in QuiqCare. QuiqCare will make sure that when it's time to review the evidence, you're informed by email and also in your activity pane. It's always going to be ready for you at the press of a button or for any inspector internally or externally. Back on the home screen here, we can see that the number by the side of the evidence icon has increased by 1 to take account of our new evidence. Let's just take a moment to look at the indicator colour. If we hover the mouse over the indicator icon, we can see a small graph appears. This represents the number of prompts within outcome 12 and their status. So this looks pretty much like a quarter of the prompts are green, i.e. compliant, and a quarter are amber. We've entered no data for the other two. QuiqCare will always show you the least compliant status for any of the prompts, just to make sure you can't overlook anything. Perhaps though we think that that new piece of evidence has moved our status along and we're now more compliant. So let's make a note of that. We'll click outcome 12 and select the amber prompt which we feel is the one we want to change. Go back into evidence and we can select its new status. In this case, we'll say it's yellow. Back here on the home screen, we can now see the status of outcome 12 has become yellow. Assistants are another great feature to help you collect evidence and prove that you are compliant to the outcomes. If you want to do an internal audit to see how well you comply with an outcome, you can use the built-in assistant. Simply select the outcome you're interested in, select the prompt, and click on the assistant. The assistant will break the prompt down into straightforward questions you can simply print off and give to a relevant member of staff and your team to complete. When you get the form back, you can decide if you comply or not and enter the evidence based on that feedback. You can even enter your own audit questions, service user surveys, or any type of audit format, and create a task to remind you to run that survey, say every quarter or every month, to check on how things are going. Let's say we have a situation where we don't think we are compliant with an outcome. So we need an action plan. A, to show that we know about the issue, and B, that we're working towards compliance, which is a very important thing to prove and demonstrate to the CQC. So, select the outcome in question, and then the prompt you want the action plan to work against. Then just click on the action plan link. The action plan form opens. These action plans are based on SMART methodology, which stands for specific, measurable, affordable, realistic, and timely. It is in fact the recommended format for CQC action plans. It also ensures a very well-formed action plan. Simply enter the general requirements of the plan. You can even involve other staff members and delegate them to be involved with you in this plan. You can state which areas the plan is relevant to, in this case management, and give it the all-important deadline. Let's say it's going to be the 23rd of October, and our review dates are going to be every 3 weeks. We can now complete our plan by entering the data and our objectives. Once completed, the plan is simply saved. Back on the home screen, we can see that we have now added an action plan to outcome 12. Of course, all the evidence entry and the action plan management leads up to the moment that you're asked to demonstrate your compliance, either internally to your management or by a CQC inspector. QuiqCare couldn't make that process any simpler. From the PCA Tool menu, select the outcome being assessed and press Print. You're presented with a fully referenced, absolutely up-to-date and contemporary, properly formatted PCA report immediately. If we need to change any evidence or finesse this report, we can do so directly from within the PCA menus. Here we can see a view of our PCA report slightly stylized. When we click on a piece of evidence over here, it shows in its original evidence view on the right hand side. We can change any of the text or any of the details at this point, save it, and that change is reflected directly into the PCA report. This means that your PCA report and your evidence are always completely in sync together. Earlier I mentioned the PCA report checkbox on the evidence, and here it is again. There may be times when you don't want to show evidence on your PCA report, although it's still relevant to your service to show the continued improvement that you've made over time. Checking this box here will show or not show the evidence as the case may be. That evidence still exists in QuiqCare, and it's still there to show the continued improvement in your service. But sometimes you don't want to show it on the PCA report because it's not necessarily relevant and contemporary to the report that you're creating. You can even get an online view of your last CQC report with a single click in case you want to address certain areas pointed out in previous reports. And don't forget that QuiqCare has a complete online reference section. So, if you want to get additional guidance on what's expected or best practice, just click on the Resources tab and you'll be presented with all of those resources grouped by outcome. These are live links. You can click on any one of them and be taken directly to that resource on the web. We already saw the action plan and evidence summaries, but we can also get reports from the menu on compliance for right now or over a period of time. We can see how we're doing on specific outcomes, who is doing which task, or how our compliance status has changed over a period of days, weeks, or even months. So here, for example, we could run a report that says, let's see what's been happening to our compliance status over the past 12 weeks. And here we go. One straightforward graph, which is showing you how your compliance has trended in that period. This type of evidence is demonstrable improvement in your service provision for CQC inspection criteria. It's extremely valuable in your service. What's more, if you are involved in the management of a number of different sites, like a regional manager in a group situation, you can see specific compliance status of each of those sites in one consolidated report, straight from your desktop, be that at head office, at home, on the train or on the site itself. QuiqCare is simple to use, so you won't ever get confused, but it's also incredibly powerful. If you need a reminder, you can simply click on the context-sensitive help key over here and get immediate advice on the screen that you're working on. You can also click to go to the forum where industry experts, care providers like you, and Quick Solutions staff are always ready to help and answer any queries. What's more, this is all backed up by our rapid implementation service, which gets you up and running in a matter of hours from when you say go. We do everything for you. We provide comprehensive training and the initial setup. If all this sounds too good, we're very happy to prove it to you with an in-depth one-to-one demonstration. We believe QuiqCare is the best product of its type that's available today. It's been created by passionate, skilled people with a highly successful, proven record of delivering quality solutions to complex issues, and we hope you enjoy using QuiqCare. Give us a call, and thanks for your time.